Happy Saturday night. All right, let's start with, let's see if I can see me on the computer. Let's see if you guys can see me on the computer or hear me or smell me or scratch my back, rub my ears. Oh, wait a minute, that's a dog. Never mind. Robert says 5x5 and I can't even see me yet. All right, so let's see. All right, there's
Robert says 5x5 and I can't even see me yet. All right, so let's see.
All right, now that I remember to turn the volume off. Gotcha. Happy Saturday night. Happy Father's Day weekend to everybody, including me. So, guys, we got 3 days till the first day of summer. Not that the temperature wouldn't tell you that, but yeah, it's kind of funny here. It's 9 o'clock on Saturday night, and I'm looking outside, and I can still see the trees because it ain't dark yet because we're just about to the longest day of the year. So, hopefully, y'all got a little break from the heat today. We did. It only got in the low 80s, so it was actually nice to get some stuff done. Though, ironically, I got stuck in the house. Obviously, I was doing the canning that you guys saw, and then I had to replace a dishwasher today. That's always fun. Such an easy job until you realize when the guys built the house, they put the dishwasher in funky, and so then you got to figure the whole damn thing out. So, fortunately, Mountaintop Preps knows a little bit about building houses, and so he figured out what to do and told me, hey, let's just do it this way. And so I did, and that was it. Because I'm not an electrician. So that was about it. But the damn thing runs, and we got clean dishes, and so the wife is happy, and y'all know how that one goes. Happy wife, happy life. So that was about it. All right. So that was the extent of the excitement in my life tonight. But so let me ask you this one. If I told you that a attorney, and I'm just going to read this to you, declared there was evidence supporting criminal charges of witness tampering, obstruction of justice, criminal election violations, Logan Act violations, extortion, espionage, and treason, and now attempted murder, who would you say that was? I'd love to see some comments. Who do you think they're talking about? This ought to be fun. Let's see. Well, obviously there's a delay in you guys hearing me, so let's see. Democrats, Hillary, the Clintons, Biden, Clinton, Joe, Clinton, Bush. There you go. Yeah, okay. So y'all thought about the same thing I did, except this is Larry Tribe, who is a Harvard professor, which that should tell you all I know. This is everything he is coming out and claiming that Donald Trump did, okay? And did this on CNN and the 8 people that watched the show today. So kind of interesting, but yes. And a lot of you had the same idea I did. My comment when I saw the article was, gee, when are you going to investigate Hillary? So that was, yeah, there's the interesting one. But, y'all know me. It's like, I'll support Trump. I'd rather see DeSantis run. You guys know that, okay? I just think he's too polarizing. I love his policies, don't get me wrong. It's just his personality is too polarizing. If we get somebody that comes in and runs with every one of Trump's policies and not as many of the mean tweets, maybe we wind up doing a little better. So that was about it. Before I miss this one, because I want to, Lily B, thank you for the Father's Day wishes and thank you for the super chat. I do greatly appreciate that. Here's one that you guys might want to pay attention to. Those of you who live in Virginia, especially those of you who live in Don Byers' district, might want to raise hell with your congressman. Byer put a bill up in the House this week to put a 1,000% tax on AR-15s and magazines and any other accessory for them. Okay. So you go out and spend $1,000 on your AR-15. You can get some more expensive, some a little cheaper. Spend $1,000 on it. That's what the rifle costs. But now you can figure on paying $10,000 for that rifle. That's his idea. That's taking away Second Amendment rights. That's pricing a lot of the people in this country out of being able to buy a firearm. Okay. Personally, I think it's totally unconstitutional, but then again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer. It'll probably pass the House. It won't go anywhere in the Senate, unless, of course, we get 10 of these rhinos to sign on and say, hey, this is a good idea. Because remember, 10 of those rhinos decided to say this gun control measure with all the red flag laws was a good idea. Imagine this one going down. If you're in the market, guys, you might want to consider moving up your time frame. Okay, so just giving you that. Interesting. I did want to give a special hello to Mr. Farmer Red, Larry, and say welcome. I got a great story today from Farmer Red, the missus, that Larry has joined the prepping world and actually enjoys watching this channel. So I just wanted to say a special hello to him. So, all right. I did notice in the comments here, we have some new people, first time into the live stream. So welcome. Very happy to have you here. Got a kick out of one of the comments. There was like 300 people in here. He's like, this is a huge chat. And I looked at it and I go, dude, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yes, so we got almost 1,200 people in here right now, and we'll probably go up another 400 or 500 by the time all's said and done. So, all right. So let's kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this, not canning them, but talking about them. First off, I want to, as usual, thank my moderators for taking time out of their Saturday for being here. Robert, Jacob, Lucky Dame, Lorna, who I'm going to smack around here a little bit because she like picking on me lately. And then North Shore. North Shore might make it here a little later. He was off to visit his dad to go spend Father's Day Saturday with his dad. So, certainly wish him and his father the best there and have fun. So, but, kind enough to tell me, hey, I'll be late or whatever it is. I mean, you guys are doing this voluntarily. It's like, you don't have to, you're not going to be here. You're not going to be here. That's it. Okay. But I appreciate that very much. And that tells you how close-knit everybody in this family is that we all are respectful of each other. Which, of course, leads me into the next thing, especially for the newbies that are here. The one thing the moderators do not put up with, and certainly I do not either, is any riffraff, any trolls, any name calling, any arguing, anything like that. Disagreement is totally fine. That's how we learn. Okay. You can do it politely. If you want to be an ass, go do it somewhere else. There's plenty of channels out there that you can do that on. This ain't one of them. Okay. So treat others as how you'd expect to be treated yourself. Okay. And if you expect to be treated like shit, sorry. Then that's your problem, not ours. Okay. As usual, nothing's off limits question-wise, except for the typical taboo subjects from YouTube, which is, Fauci's little moneymaker and, what happened in November of 2020. And then, of course, they don't want us talking about the causes for the hot weather, at least the fake causes. We can talk about the grand solar minimum, the real cause, but, the fake ones we're not allowed to talk about. So other than that, nothing's off limits. You guys know we've talked movies, we've talked 80s rock and roll, we've talked God knows what. So, it's always just have some fun. It's Saturday night. The whole point of being here, guys, is to share ideas, to learn something, to chill out, relax, have a little bit of fun, fellowship, and camaraderie. That's it. Okay. So now that we got that down, I'll say one last thing. If you got a question for me, please put it in all caps, just like every other YouTube channel. That way I know what to look for, because as I'm scrolling through all the chats, I'm not reading every one of them. Last Boy Scout, thank you for the super chat, and you are most welcome for the early video. I found it necessary. I mean, when anybody's calling out some channels, especially those, okay, between Rudy and Patera, I mean, come on, all right? Y'all saw the video this morning, so I don't need to rehash it. But like I said, there's plenty of fear mongers, channels that are totally in it for the money, out there. That's one of the reasons I started this channel. I mean, I've told you guys many times, you cannot imagine the amount of, hey, be an affiliate with us. Hey, sponsor our product that I get. I get at least a couple of those emails a day. Okay. Every one of them, I tell either flat out no, or write me a check for $1 million and I'll give you one commercial. Nobody's taken me up on it yet. Okay. So, but that's the thing, if you want to come here and do this as a commercial business, hey, that's fine. That more power to you. Don't expect me to watch. Okay. Y'all know me. I don't do Patreon. I don't do memberships, clubs or whatever it is, coffee clubs or whatever you name it to. I don't believe in charging you guys to participate here. Okay. Not at all. I appreciate the super chats that you guys give me. And yes, of course, there's ad revenue that I get from the videos. I'm not going to get rich on it. But, no, I don't want anybody charged to do this. That's to watch what I have to say. That's it. So just saying. But yes, I will defend the good people, the true homesteaders, preppers, survivalists all the time. The money makers, the fakes, the frauds, no, I will have nothing to do with them. So, all right, let's get into Q&A here. And as usual, I will start from the top and go through as many as I can. So let's see what we got here. Well, I can get way up here. All right, I'm going to get all the way to the beginning. A Cushnet prepper, I think Biden and John Kerry should enter into the Tour de France. Men's division or women's? I don't know, after today and, Biden's ability on a bicycle, oh, I got my foot caught in your mouth, Joe. Okay. Will Sailor, how long do you wait to use the Bohemian sauerkraut after canning? About a month. You're going to let it ferment in there. So yeah, leave it for about a month and then you're okay. Cindy Rice, of course they still have TDS. I agree with the polarizing. Yes, of course. Linda S, what does Mrs. P put in the pickled garlic? Is it the same brine as you showed today? She made 3 different versions of it. The pickled version, is that her walking? Maybe she'll tell us. I hear her upstairs. The pickled version was the same brine. Okay. But she made 2 others that are fermented, and one was Georgian, as in former Soviet Republic Georgian, not Atlanta Georgian. And the other one was, I want to say it was Uzbeki. I'm not remembering. One was Georgian, I know, and the other one was one of the other former Soviet Republic recipes. So she wanted to make all 3 and see which one we liked best before we showed you guys how to do it. So that's the game plan. Because if one of them comes out and it's crap, the last thing we want to do is tell you guys, hey, make this. And you go, why the hell did we make this? It's junk. So, but she wanted to try these other 2 recipes first. So give us a few weeks or so, and then we will taste test them and then tell you how to make them. Sheila, I'm guessing you've seen Potato Fall today. What, he makes us look so bad. Hey, the guy's just a moron. I mean, the whole world knows he's a moron. So, it's not like he's making anybody else look bad. I mean, Joe's been a laughing stock in Washington for 50 years. I mean, they talked about all his gaffes before he even ran. The whole world knows about it. I mean, go watch Sky News or, any of the international TV shows that you can find on YouTube, international news channels, and they all laugh at Joe. Okay. And they all feel sorry for us because he's in there. I mean, it's hilarious watching some of these news stories, and they're like, I can't believe the American people voted him in. I'm like, So, okay. Caribbean House. Happy Father's Day, and to every dad in this community. Well, thank you for that. And to everybody else, again, same Happy Father's Day as well from me. Scott Langoff, ever heard of the poll tax? Is that when they charge the Polish people? No. Yes, I have. Let's see. John Guerra, I'm Australian and have learned never surrender your firearms. We told you. We told you loudly that this was going to happen, and it is. So, Flapper 45, John Roberts will say it's not a tax. Yeah, no kidding. That's okay. We'd still come ahead 5-4. So, all right. Stacy Dobbin, Mr. Pinball or Hi Pinball. My balcony garden is doing amazing. Thank you for your advice. You're most welcome. I will say this, okay? And just to give you this is an idea. Maybe I said it in a video, maybe I didn't. I went out and looked at my tomatoes earlier this week. I've got one plant that's got blossom end rot on it. Yes, happens to me too. Okay, first thing I did was get out there with some calcium nitrate. Mrs. P were out. I can't talk tonight. Mrs. P and I were out looking at fruit trees today, and noticed our apricot tree has black knot disease. So I've got to take care of that in the fall. My carrots that I showed you guys how to plant last week, the heat beat the living crap out of them. I'd say probably 80% of them died in the heat. Even though I kept the garden watered and everything like that, they couldn't handle the heat. So, yeah, I'm very happy that your garden's doing well. But like I said in this afternoon's video, learn. I've been gardening a lot, let's put it this way, all over the place for probably the last 13 years, something like that. New Hampshire, Boston, Salt Lake, Vegas, and now here. Okay. I did a little bit in Indiana, but not that much. And everything's different, and every year's different. And for me, every climate's different, and every soil's different, and everything. So you keep learning, and I'm still learning what works, what doesn't. One of you guys sent me an email this afternoon about something that you learned that worked for you that everybody told you wouldn't work. And my answer was, I don't care. If it works for you, then it works. What I do is what I do. It works for me. It may work for you. It might not. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just what works for me. Different climates, different soil, different sunlight, whatever would be. Okay? Whole 9 yards. You figure out what works and then you stick with it. Gardening is trial and error. Life is trial and error. You figure out something, and if it doesn't work, you don't do it again. If it does work, you continue to do it. From the time you were born to the time you die, that's how you live your life. Gardening's no different. Healthy disrespect for authority. Is there anything I can be planting now? My garden is sad. Depending on where you are, okay? Look at what your last frost date is, okay? Now, for me, my last frost date is about November 1st, very late October, November 1st, okay? So that means I've got July 15th, August, September, October. I've got 4.5 months, all right? So I have what? That's 135 days. So anything that I can plant hot weather crops that I can harvest in 135 days, yeah. So you could still, at least here, start peppers, start tomatoes. I just started melons last week. Okay. So, honeydew, cantaloupe. I forget what the last one was, the new one that I'd never heard of, that I tried. you can do any of those. If you're going to do your cold weather crops, and again, depending on where you are, uh, your brassicas, your cabbage. I mean, I'll still plant cabbage later, probably around the 1st of September. I'll plant cabbage again, because that's about a 60-day harvest, the cabbage that I plant, and that'll get me done by my frost date. And cabbage can handle a frost. You'll be coming in the fall, you can plant peas again. But again, it depends on where you are. You got to know that. So a lot of things. You're at the very end of when you can plant almost anything, but yes, you can still plant almost anything. Yeah, Texas says John Cornyn got booed at the Republican convention in Houston. Don't mess with the two. I saw that. That was video all over the place this morning. Yeah. How Cornyn keeps getting reelected, I have no idea. How a lot of the incumbents keep getting reelected, I have no idea. I think it's a lot of people just don't care. It's like, oh, he's the one that's been in, fine. But the funny part is, I laugh at this all the time. Everybody bitches about Congress, both sides, left, right, independent, you name it. Everybody bitches about Congress. But here's the comment everybody: Congress sucks, except for my guy. It's one of those, it's everybody else's fault. The guy you have is good. Right. Ildeco, how old is too old for a log cabin? For living in one, or for the log cabin, how old is that? Is it? Or I don't think there's any age that's too old to live in one. And I have no idea how long too old is for one that's built. Mountaintops, you better not have given me your crap. All right. Lorna, who, me? Yeah, you and this. Oh, every time I talk about my garden, I get giddy. Yeah, it's because something I have control over. I can't control gas prices. I can't control the Second Amendment, but I can control my food. Freedom Rain, Pinball, do I harvest potatoes when the flowers die off or when the plants die? I did a video on it the other day, showed you when I harvested mine. You're waiting for the plants to die, okay? And then they're done growing. It's kind of like, I'll use the same as onions. Onions flop over. Okay, that's when the plant's dying. Same thing with potatoes. Potatoes will all flop over. The leaves will all turn brown, everything like that. That's when you harvest. Brian Hagerman, do I happen to know or have heard if Billy's bone sauce from Permapasture's Farm deters horses? No idea. If you got horses in your garden, then yeah, that would be a fence. No, ask Billy. I bet you he probably doesn't even know. Colorado Prepper, can we talk about the dead cows? Okay, so I'll touch on this real quick. I've heard anywhere from 2,000 to 100,000 dead cows. Okay. Pretty big disparity in how many. I got a question. If they all died from the heat, cows are pretty smart to get out of the heat. I think I told you the other day when I was going to the dump, past a couple of, I won't say cattle ranches, but people that own cattle and have them in the yard. I mean, yards around here are acres. But all the cows I saw when I passed 3 of them were all in the pond. All of them were staying cool in the pond. I can't think of a person that raises cattle that would not have a pond on their property. Cows aren't that dumb. Cows will go where they can to cool off. Cows know. We go in the shade. You've all seen cows laying under a tree in the heat, okay? Or they'll go in the water to cool off. So all these cows dying from the heat, why didn't the goats die? Why didn't the pigs die? Why didn't any other livestock die? Why was it just the cows? Something stinks, and it's not rotting flesh. Something stinks about this whole thing. But again, it's because nobody puts a critical eye to it and says, this doesn't make sense. Why? Did they not? And like I said, 2,000 to 100,000 cows. That's, that's a lot of meat. Start figuring out, you get at least 1,000 pounds to, meat, not just cow weight. So 1,000 pounds of meat on 100,000 cows. It's 10 million pounds of meat, guys. It's a lot of freaking meat. Here. All gone bad. And you thought all these food processing plants burning down was a problem. All right. Portuguese prepper. What do I do with those pickled onions? I throw them at my neighbors. I eat them. That's it. You can sit there and eat them, straight them out of the jar. I mean, use them as a side dish. One of my favorite ways to do it is put it on a pulled pork sandwich. It's just very, very good. So, but yeah, I mean, you could have a steak and put a couple of pickled onions on the side. Trust me, you'll never have steak without them again if you have the option. Lorna, as long as nobody comes running through my yard, but now if they did, I can't see them. So the only way I'm going to know is if my security lights go on. And you guys have seen that happen before too. Cat Lady Nellie had the canning pickles and onions go today. Showed you guys at the end, finishing it all off. It looked good. All the cans sealed, so they are sitting on the counter there, waiting to their 24 hours so I can wash the jars off. And then I got a counter full of stuff that I've canned this week that all has to get put away. David Galifaro, Pinball, if I had $250,000 to invest, or if I had $250,000, where would I invest it? Oof. Again, I'm hoping this is hypothetical and not well, actually, I'm hoping it's a problem you have. Problem I wish I had. Depends. Again, if your house is paid off, if all your bills, first off, if I had $250,000 in any bills, that would be where they'd go. They'd pay everything off. You guys know that about me. There'd be no bills left. But if you had everything paid off, and again, I don't know everybody's situation, can you buy more land? Okay. And I'm not talking about 2 counties over or 2 states over or something like that, or a bug out location. I'm talking about right where you are. Okay. Could I take my 3 acres and turn it into 4? Okay. That I would do. I would certainly buy gold and silver. I would make sure I had anything and everything that I needed in regards to my preps taken care of. Year's worth of food, my heat taken care of, my electricity taken care of, my weaponry taken care of. I'd have all that done. And I'd have all that done before buying any precious metals. Okay. I've done videos before on weaponry I suggest having and for what purpose. Okay. I've done videos on different types of power generation. I've done videos on different types of heat. Cooling is a little different. Again, that depends on where everybody is, and it's a little more difficult, though I'm working on something that might be a good idea. So give me a little bit of time on the cooling thing. But those would be the things I would look at. But certainly bills paid off first, prepping stuff, land, precious metals. Somebody just, sorry, crap, I'm gonna get lost here. Sage News, thank you for the super chat. I saw that pop through and it didn't show up at the top of my screen. So let me see if I can figure this out. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can find out where I was again. Chief Redbird, Pinball, at what point does a cucumber become a pickle? I have no idea. It's just that, different, this year we are growing Japanese cucumbers and pickling cucumbers. Pickling cucumbers stay about 3-4 inches long. Okay. We got one that we missed. I mean, it's that long, which is what, maybe 6-8 inches. And I mean, it's the thickness of a potato. Right. And it's sitting on the counter here. It's half yellow, and I will save that one for seeds because it will be way too bitter to use for anything else. So I will just let that thing completely ripen till it's bright yellow, and it'll turn into seeds for me. But that's it. It's just another kind of pickle. That's it. David Summers said, "Damn, assault bicycles." Yeah. Unfortunately, that one didn't. No, I'm not going there. One Duchess, I'm new to your channel for 6 weeks or so. Really good stuff. Love Patera as well. Well, thank you and welcome to the family. I'm hoping you're getting something useful out of everything we talk about and having a little fun at the meantime. That's something that, my sense of humor is a little weird. Okay, but you'll get it every once in a while. But it's what I use to completely keep me from going completely nuts. Angel's Lady, Mr. Pinball, anything to get rid of ants and strawberries. Sprinkle some cinnamon around the garden. That will probably, if they're not fire ants, that will probably do well. Kathy Acevedo, my veggies in the garden, not so good. My veggies in the buckets are doing well. Again, my guess is that's probably a soil issue because you've probably got high quality soil in the buckets. I'm guessing you didn't go out and dig the dirt out of your backyard and put it in the buckets, but you're growing in the dirt in your backyard. So I'm betting that's a soil issue. There be charming right there. Ants hate cinnamon. There you go. Validated. Okay. Okie Forge, my tomato plants were doing really good until the heat wave. Then the stems turned brown. Yeah. This time, if you notice, you've got to really water deep. If I'm getting out there every 3 days and I'm watering each garden for an hour because I want to get that water deep down to those roots. Because if you're only getting an inch or two into the soil, even if you've got mulch in there, it's so hot, it's evaporating right away. Mrs. P and I were looking at it. She's like, is the pond getting any water? Mind you, I'm pumping water into the pond 15 hours a day. And it doesn't look like it's moving. Why? Because I'm trying to keep up with evaporation. That's what's coming from there. Same thing in your garden. Texas Sass, I learned that someone put whole cherries in the compost pile. Will that be a problem? It shouldn't be, as long as, if the pits sprouted, which I doubt because it's not like they're going to get, they've got good conditions. Some things will grow great. Throw your used sweet potato in there and watch how fast you've got sweet potato slips growing in your potato, in your compost pile. Throw pumpkin seed in there and watch what happens. But cherry seeds, nah, I'm not going to worry about it. And if you all of a sudden see a little cherry tree that's this big, just pull the damn thing. Okay. Summer Fun Guy, the pea fertilizer works very well. Told you, and it's free. It's a resource you'll never run out of. I promise. If you do run out of it, you're not going to need to eat anyway. So yeah, but it's probably the best source of nitrogen you're going to get. Can't be used on a commercial scale, but for the home gardener, yeah, you generate enough to fertilize your garden. Jeffrey Callanan, have you tried fermented honey and garlic? No, I have not. Then again, I don't have bees. So we've got honey in storage, but that's basically about the only thing we use honey for. Is Mrs. P will use it in her tea sometime. I don't use it. In SHTF, obviously I would, but it's not a staple around the house that we use. It's not like we're making biscuits that often or anything like that. Usually it's biscuits and gravy, not biscuits and honey. So, okay. Again, remember, I didn't grow up on some of the Southern food. So I like it. I like biscuits and gravy. I like chicken fried steak, but it's not the staple that you'd think for somebody else. And I mean, for Mrs. P, it's completely new. Robert, I thought Pinball was making more fertilizer when I first turned on the pickling video. No, I'm not going to pee in a jar on camera. Sorry. Okay. Billy Rose, hello from North Texas. Not knowing where you are. I mean, I went to school at UNT. So if you're anywhere around the Denton area, or I lived in Little Elm, that's my stomping grounds. Oh, I've heard it's completely changed in 30 years. Warbird, I made your banana fertilizer and it molded on top. Is it still usable if I remove it? Absolutely. Don't even worry about the mold. Stir it in, everything like that. You're fine. It's still going to be good. I wouldn't use it on houseplants, but using it outside, no problem. Misha Bell, when are they going to tell us what the currency is going to be after the market crashes? Yeah, there's articles coming out this weekend, Friday, Saturday, about Bitcoin, FedCoin is now in the cards, no problem. I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, y'all know as well as I do that everybody who's talking about a national or a worldwide cryptocurrency knows exactly what's going on in the crypto markets right now. And they're going, what if that happened to our world, our country's currency? Got to figure that one out first. Okay. Again, my opinion, I don't see it happening in the near future. Not at least being mainstream. Be out there? Sure. Bitcoin's out there. Okay. Fool's errand. But, I don't think, I'd hope not. Let's put it this way. The people in Washington are stupid enough. I don't think anybody who's sane is looking at this going, you know what? Let's take a chance on our entire economic system, on our currency, and change it. Dave and Nikki Banachek, hey Pinball, is there a certain veggie plant that likes used coffee grounds? Anything that likes nitrogen. Okay. And again, remember, nitrogen is your green growth. So you would have been using that in the spring. I mean, at this point, most of your plants, if not all of your plants, are fruiting. Okay. Your peppers, your tomatoes, your cucumbers, or whatever. So you want to be going with a lot more phosphorus on those, except for corn. If you're growing corn, keep dumping those coffee grounds out in your corn plants, because corn will eat nitrogen up like crazy. Corn is a grass. Okay, just if you look at any grass fertilizer, lawn fertilizer, you look at the numbers on it, it'll be like 30-0-0. It's all nitrogen that you're dumping on your lawn. Okay, corn's the same way. But once the plants start fruiting, stop giving them nitrogen, start giving them phosphorus. But coffee grounds are high nitrogen, so depending on where you are in your growing cycle. Cheryl Zeman, that's why we always plant more than we can eat. Some are bound to die. Sure miss my acre garden. Rule of thumb for the home gardener is you will lose 10 to 20% of your crop. Okay, home gardener. I'm not talking about farmers. Farmers know a lot more than home gardeners do. They have a lot more skill, knowledge, equipment, resources, whatever, time. But the average home gardener loses 10 to 20% of their crop to disease, to bugs, to rabbits, to mice, deer, whatever it would be. So that tells you need to plant 10 to 20% more than you hope to harvest. Now, there's going to be years that you're going to have bumper crops on stuff. This year looks like one of those for tomatoes for me. We got so many freaking tomatoes right now. I mean, I've got beefsteak tomatoes that are already the size of a softball, 12-inch softball. They're still green. We'll see what happens with some of this stuff. There's other years where, like I just said, my carrots fried. Okay. You saw my cabbage last year. My cabbage last year was pathetic. My cabbage this year was good. So this is the thing. You keep going. You learn from it. You keep records and go, okay, what did I do? When did I plant? How often did I fertilize? When did I water? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll figure out what works. But you're gonna have crops that do better or worse every year. It's normal. Okay. Farmers will tell you the same thing. Marshall McCullough, first time growing corn. What does 3 shoots per plant mean? I don't know. I've never heard the term. So, Wendy Cosmerl, hope I'm pronouncing it right. Any ideas for an in-garage large water storage? Does it have to be food grade? New to this. Get an IBC tote if you're going to do it in the garage. You know, IBC tote, I think they're 200, 250 gallons or whatever it is. They've got like a metal frame around a big plastic deal. Get that. I mean, one big square, put it there, fill it up, hook a spigot to the bottom of it. You can just fill up a milk jug or whatever you need. That way you've got 200, 250 gallons of fresh water there anytime you need. And keep it in the garage, you'll be fine. There should be a use by date on the log cabin. Log cabin syrup? Or do they even make that, or is that like Aunt Jemima and it's racist now too? I don't know. Let's see. Hazel Shelton, how long to harvest sweet potatoes? 120 days after you put the slips in the ground. Okay. And you can pretty much harvest those by calendar. 120, 122 days. Don't go to 130. Don't try it 110. You know, that 120 day mark is pretty set in stone. Put your slips in, mark the calendar. I mean, I put mine in, what was it? I got to go back and look at my calendar. Was it May 15th or June? I think it was May 15th. So I'm looking at September 15th for my harvest. And my sweet potatoes that I put out in the straw bales are getting bigger. You know, they're yay big now. The leaves are getting bigger and they'll continue to grow. So, Kaylin, my onions flopped over, but they aren't even golf ball size. Should I leave them in longer? If they flopped over, they won't be bulbing anymore, so you might as well pull them. Now, it depends on did you ever give them a haircut? Okay, if your scapes are a foot and a half high or whatever, and you cut them down to 6-9 inches and the thing's still standing up, you're good. If they flopped at the neck, like right where the bulb is, they're done growing. You might as well pull them. Grace Acres, I bought a jalapeno plant and realized when I got it home that the top had been broken off. There's lots of foliage on it. Will it grow or is it done since the top was broken? It's not going to get taller. It's going to get bushier. What you'll probably have is another one try to grow vertically. But that's a way that you can stop plants from growing, is cut that top. It'll stop it from growing up. It'll get bushier. You're still okay. It'll still give you peppers, everything like that. You're just not going to have a big, tall pepper plant. Lorna, let Mountaintop Reps, let Pinball blame you. It gets a focus off of me. Nah. You're being a smartass lately. Let's see. Kimberly Carson on the cows. It wasn't heat. They were poisoned. That's, yeah. Motimer. Planned power outage to fix lines that were damaged from a fire. People complaining about a few hours without power overnight. You're sound asleep. Who cares? Okay. You sleep with the lights on? You know, I'm sorry, unless you want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and watch a couple of infomercials, who cares? But, yeah, but, you know, that's what you're going to, power's out for a few hours and people freak out. You know, this is why you've got to have some backup power. I mean, somebody had emailed me that they had their solar generators or whatever, and they bought 4 of them, I think, or 3, and 3 of them weren't working or something. You know, you need to be checking on your supplies often, making sure they are working, making sure, you know, they, in regards to generators, charged, you know, just like anything else, things need maintenance. I think I told you guys a week or so ago, you know, about when's the last time you went and oiled your firearms? They sit on a shelf, sit in your case, you know, in your safe long enough, they get dusty. Dust is not good. So, you know, and oil does distract it, but you know, it's not like when the bad guy comes in the house, you go, hang on a second, I got to oil my gun. You know, no, you need to do that maintenance constantly. Have a schedule. Misha Bell, Biden fell off his bike harder than the housing market. Oh, we don't even want to know what's going to go on with the housing market. Ghoulie1234, Pinball, do you think there will be deflation due to lack of demand? Well, there was an article out today, and if you saw, Rudy did a video on it too, about, and I mentioned it briefly this morning, about the deep discounts that we're going to see on stuff, blankets, shirts, clothing, whatever it is, that stores ordered last year and are finally getting to them now. And so they've got a glut of all this stuff, and they don't have the warehouse space to store it. This is why I was saying, wait till you see Christmas trees out in July. Because they got to move some of this product. They don't have anywhere to do it. So they're going to sell stuff dirt cheap just to get rid of it. Now, that won't help the stock market. Obviously, they're at best selling the stuff at cost, probably selling it at a loss. Okay. So that's going to cut into the profits of the company. Will it be deflationary? This is the thing. I don't think we're in a lack of demand yet. The demand for stuff is still out there. It's just the fact that we can't afford it because we're still inflationary. But I what was this, maybe a month and a half ago, I did a video. I said, watch, this is like 1973, 74, 75. The Fed is going to hike rates, and then all of a sudden we're going to have to make an about turn and start cutting them like crazy. I still see the exact same thing happening yet. We could go into a deflationary period. I don't think it's going to become from lack of demand, though. I think demand will stay strong. It's the affordability that's going to be the problem. Bill Gates wants us to eat bugs, yes. Happy Gardener, there was a rancher from Kansas. He says it was a flash heat event, 100 degrees after dark. Yeah, but you know what? Like I said before, the cows are smart enough to get out of the heat. Okay, they'll go somewhere. And most time the cows will go in the barn in the evenings at night. Okay, it doesn't take much to go throw a couple of fans out there. And people that have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars invested in those cattle are doing anything they can to keep those cattle viable. April Carey, any idea how to keep cats out of the garden? I like these cats, so I'm not trying to hurt them. Okay, so that rules out the 22. Man, somebody in here can answer this. I know this because we've had this conversation before, and people have talked about what to do to keep cats out of the garden. I can't remember off the top of my head, and it's not a problem I have to deal with. So dogs do a good job of keeping cats away. Go figure. But somebody else, if you can't answer April's question there about keeping cats out of the garden, I cannot think of what. There's a trick to it. I can't think of what it is. Gaucho, do I start my fall veggies indoors and transplant or direct sow? I start anything that I start my spring veggies in, like my cabbage and stuff, I will start indoors. Reason being, I want some sort of control over it. I don't want to be dealing with this 106 degree heat index trying to grow a seedling. I can keep it in the house at 76 degrees in the house. I can put things on a heat mat if I need to or whatever and go there. Some things like my melons, I direct seeded those. But my theory has always been this: if I start my spring plants in pots, I'm going to start my fall plants, the same plants, in pots. If I direct seed, I'll always direct seed. If I indoor seed, I'll always indoor seed. Prep Rebel, which is better, water bath, canned pickles, or fermented? I don't know yet, because this is my first time canning pickles this way. I've always made refrigerator pickles before, which are really good, but I want to put some up for storage. And Mrs. P and I decided, hey, we're going to plant more pickling cucumbers plants this year, so we had more. So I can't give you that as an answer yet because I haven't opened any of these because they're still doing their thing in the pickle brine. But as for, I mean, I love refrigerator pickles. So, Portuguese prepper, how long did you water bath the onions for? 15 minutes. 15 minutes for quarts, 10 minutes for pints. Suburban hillbilly, why didn't they send them through the processing plants before they died? My guess is that, the processing plants aren't usually right on the cattle ranch. So that would be that question, who knows? Like I said, something stinks. 10 minutes. Okay. David Summers said, if I had $250,000, it'd be an investigation. Okay. Deb, I got squash bugs. Get out some diatomaceous earth. Bossman 562, when is the world going to end? Hang on a second. I can give you, it will end. Bear with me. Really? You think I know this? God. The end of the world is nigh. Yes, it'll end one day. One day it will be tomorrow. We just never know what one day that'll be. Let's see. Tommy M, plant a cherry tree. I've got one. Like I said, I finally found a cherry that will grow down here for sweet cherries. So it's called a sweetheart cherry. So I've got that. Shiloh 2012. What if you have fire ants in your containers? Well, if you've got root crops in there, forget it. You might as well dump them because they're toast, okay? Because the fire ants will eat your turnips, your parsnips, your potatoes, your carrots, whatever it is, they're done. So you might as well just get rid of it altogether, take it out in the field somewhere, dump the soil, dump the ants, dump everything. It's gone. If you've got them in, say, peppers or tomatoes or some sort of above ground fruiting crop, you can try some of the fire ant killers or whatever in the soil. That would be it. But if you're growing root crops, forget it. You're done. Angela Palumbo. Hey, I just canned 27 jars of jam. Jeez. I did 21 quarts of potatoes yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I don't know. Days all run together anymore. And I was like, by the time I was done, I was like peeling 42 pounds of potatoes. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I can't imagine making another 7. David Creason, our dwarf tomatoes are now 7 foot tall. Go figure. Yeah, my black crims have long since outgrown the top of the cages, so they are now flopping over the ends. We were out there clipping them to try to do whatever we could to keep those up. Those are over 5 feet. My Bartellis are about 7 feet at this point, though I know they'll go over the top of the 10. So, yeah, the tomatoes are absolutely going insane around here this year. Okay, let's see, where else? Be charming. With all the allergies you have, you should be using local raw honey. I don't have it. I've got allergies to one thing, and it's cottonwood. I mean, unless you want to count poison ivy, but those are the only allergies I have. I'm not allergic to anything else. Beverly Couch brings something up. I saw it real quick. Wrap your squash stems with foil when you set them out for the worm borer. Yes, that you put about 3 inches of aluminum foil around the bottom of the stem. That will keep the squash borers out of your plant, because what the mother is trying to do is get into the stem, lays her eggs, and then the hatchlings, whatever you want to call it, go into the stem and eat the squash plant from the inside out. When sprouting seeds, how long do you wait before planting containers? I'm assuming you're talking about this, put it in a paper towel, stick it in the refrigerator or something like that. As soon as you see some green on there, stick it in the container. You're fine. That would be, that's it. So that you don't have to wait. I mean, once they sprout, plant them. New channel. I lived in Denton in 1994 and went to UNT as well. There you go. 1994. So you were there about, if you remember, I'll give you this. We'll throw something back for you, see if you remember. Down on right outside 35, there was a bar called Texas Star. And then there was another bar in town closer to TWU that was called Benchmark. If those were still there, because I was there about the same time. If you remember those, I attended bar at both those clubs there while I was going to school. Let's see. Chief Jim, will they force digital currency? Like I said before, if they do it, we're a while from it. I think the crypto crash that's going on right now, I think, is making people realize, hey, we aren't ready for this. Red Dog 66. Pinball, how to survive in New England if you can't afford to leave? I don't know how you can survive in New England. I mean, the cost of everything up there is insane. I mean, property taxes and rent and everything like that. I could go off for 2 hours on that question. I mean, are we talking about amongst the people? Are we talking about food? I mean, there's way too much to unpack in that question. Krista Ballard, did I say phosphorus for blossom rot on tomatoes? No, for blossom end rot, you need calcium nitrate or calcium. Okay, eggshells, but eggshells, you're going to need to put a couple of drops of vinegar in there to release the calcium at this point. If you would put it in when you planted, like I ran out of eggshells, then you'd have been fine. But now at this point, you need instantly absorbable calcium. So put a couple of drops of vinegar in your crushed egg shells, mix it up, and then put that kind of paste in the soil that will release the calcium. Calcium nitrate, if you can buy something like that, works. That's what you're looking at to get rid of blossom end rot. For phosphorus, that is to help the plant fruit more. That's once the plant is fruiting, that will give it the nutrients it needs to produce fruit. Be charming. Fried green tomatoes are the bomb. Some people like them, some people don't. I'm in the category of I don't particularly care for them. Jen Boyles, all my plants in Pennsylvania are tiny. Should I add nitrogen now? I'm assuming because it's colder. And I mean, the best I can say, I watch a channel called The Veggie Boys. These guys are farmers up in Pennsylvania. And I'm looking at what they're planting and what I've got going in. And granted, their videos are a couple of days old. But yeah, if you're anywhere like what they are, yeah, you're doing nitrogen right now. You're still trying to get that green growth. Jan Rudd, Pinball, does commercial fertilizer expire? We've given some, and there's leaching from the boxes. It doesn't expire. It will get weaker over time. You think of it, it's in a packaging material. You ever look at an old bag of fertilizer or something like that, and you'll see like what looks like a water line on it. Okay, that's the moisture from the fertilizer kind of getting sucked out of it into the paper or whatever. It'll lose its potency, but it's not going to expire. It might expire in 50 years or something like that. It's not going to be as potent down the road. Michelle J, do I know anything about harvesting a spring? I don't even understand the question. All right. Tony Joya, do I ever make fried green tomatoes? No, because I'm not a fan. Danny Melton, I'm just getting to join for tonight. Have you seen anything on the coal train derailment in Texas? No, or in Kansas? No, I have not. Great. Guess I'll be looking at that later this evening. Barbara B in Florida, what do I use to fertilize my sweet potatoes? Nothing. Because the way I do it, they go in the the straw bales, and because there was so much nitrogen and everything like that dumped in there to turn the inside of the straw bales pretty much to compost. They have all the nutrients in there that they need. They're good to go all by themselves. Bo Jam, thank you, Pinball. You're doing what God asked you. Like I said this morning, I think that's true. I agree. You know, it's like I've got some knowledge to share it. I don't have all the answers, of course not. Okay, not going to be arrogant and say I do, but I do have the ability to talk to people in coherent sentences and have some knowledge that I can share. And if that's what God put me on this earth to do, so be it. I mean, I've said my entire life that I'm still here for a reason. I just don't know what it was. I mean, you know, I think maybe I told you guys before, when I was 7 years old, I had spinal meningitis. I was in a coma for 3.5 weeks. The doctors did not expect me to survive. I had one white blood cell. Well, let's put it this way. My white blood cell count was 1. They tried some experimental drug on me or something like that, and I survived. I had a motorcycle accident when I was 15. I flipped over a car and landed on my head, and somehow the helmet was enough to keep me going. I mean, I've been shot at. I've had enough near-death experiences that I'm amazed I'm alive. There's a freaking reason why I'm here, and the man upstairs knows why, and I'm just trying to figure out what it is. All right, it is 10 o'clock, guys. That is hell of a way to end the live stream, huh? So, all right, y'all have a great Saturday evening. I already know what tomorrow's going to be for video because, oh my God, you're going to love this one. But we'll get into that in the morning. Have a good one, y'all. Pinball out.